Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex. Every month on my channel here, I run through about 25 of the best games coming to retail, and this is no different. This is a normal month. This is July. We got about 25 great games hitting retail. All of these games were confirmed by the publisher this month. I don't even confirm them like months ago. I confirm them this month. So, delays are still possible. They happen because of logistics and shipping and all that sort of stuff. But hopefully, if you see a game here that you're interested in, you'll be able to go out and get it. And, to me, everything I include on this video, is available either in friendly local game stores and online marketplaces through the publisher's website. Different games are often available different places, but, somewhere fairly easily and immediately you can get the game if you are interested in it. So, yeah, I hope you find something that you like. I always try to include a bunch of different types of games in this video so everybody can find something that interests them. So, thanks so much for being here. I'm Grant. Kicking off this month, 25th Century Games is releasing the little card game Mojo. This plays 3 to 8 players, and it is a lightweight card game. They say it plays in 30 minutes, but I have actually had a chance to play this one, and it kind of plays as long as you want it to play, because you can play to a certain point count. You can play a short game, you can play a normal game, you can play a long game. You can kind of adapt it to meet whatever playtime you want. And so if you're looking for like a filler card game, Mojo could be the right one for you. In the game, all the cards are very bright, fun colors. I like that. You are trying to get rid of your hand the quickest. And you do that by playing a lower card than the number that is showing. If you play a higher card than the number is showing, then you have to pick up a card. You have to draw a card. And so you are trying to do that, but the sort of rub is that at the end of the round, if you have the same card in your hand, then they cancel each other out. So, maybe you've got a couple of 10s in your hand, but that's not as big of a deal to have at the end because you've got multiple of them. Whereas if you had a single 10, you'd definitely be wanting to get it down on the table because that's going to score you 10 points and you want the lowest score in this game. You want to get rid of your cards and then you want to have the lowest point value, and so you basically play until like one player hits 50 points and then whoever has the lowest wins the game, something like that. So yeah, it's a quick playing card game. There's definitely some luck involved with the drawing of cards and things like that, but it's a fun filler card game. All Play, in association with Sea Cow Games, is releasing the cooperative game Flock Together. This plays 1 to 5 players in 30 to 125 minutes and is a solidly medium weight game. I actually had a chance to play this one at Dice Tower East a couple of weeks ago and had a great time with it. There's a couple of things that make it stand out. You're working together, you're playing as chickens trying to defeat different bad guys, but it has a really cool leveling up system. Each character has their own asymmetric booklet, and you can level up the character and you literally flip a page of the booklet and now you have new abilities, you have new sort of maxes for different point damage you can hit on an attack. If you level up, you can do more damage with each attack, that sort of thing. And so we're each trying to level up our own asymmetric character, and the asymmetry in the game makes it feel like a fun cooperative experience as well, because you're like, hey, I'm good at this, so let me do this, and you need to go over there and do that, and we kind of have to take advantage of our own special abilities. The bosses, the bad guys in the game, also level up, and they have their own asymmetric booklets as well. And so if you don't defeat them within a certain amount of time, they'll level up and now they've just gotten harder to beat and stuff like that. There's a bunch of different characters in the game, a bunch of different bad guys in the game, so there's some nice replayability and some nice scalability in its difficulty, right? Like you can, we're going to play like the basic bosses, the basic bad guys this time, and we're probably probably going to do all right. Or you could make it super hard and play on really hard bad guys and level them up quickly and stuff like that. So the game's full of like great artwork too. It's all by Andrew Bosley. It's got funny puns, you know. I remember the character I played as, obviously, was Wyatt Chirp. So the chicken, I played as the chicken Wyatt Chirp, and it's full of like silliness like that, even though the game does have still a lot of strategy to it. So if you are a fan of cooperative games, if you're a fan of asymmetric character abilities, if you're a fan of leveling up, if you're a fan of great artwork, all of those reasons I think are a good reason to check out Flock Together from Allplay and Sea Cow Games. Allplay is releasing a couple of games in their very small box line, and I don't know if this has a name yet, because Allplay is known for having these small box games, and they are starting a new line that's even smaller box games. They're like tiny games. So instead of being a box like this, they're now a box like this. You know, they're real small boxes, and so they are releasing their first two games in that tiny box line. One is Panda Panda. This plays 2 to 4 players, 10 to 20 minutes, and it is a lighter weight card game. And in Panda Panda, you'll have a hand of cards. All players will have a hand of cards, and you are trying to get a hand that matches this chart that shows you what type of hand you need, what type of cards you need in your hand to sort of win the game, win the round. And that chart is going to differ based on different player counts. If a player plays an A card, though, everyone has to pass one card to the player on their right. And so, you know, there's a decent amount of player interaction right there where you can force people to pass cards and, oh, you think you've got it. You think your hand is about to win where, well, ha ha ha, now you have to pass a card sort of thing. So you just need to collect the right cards and figure out what your opponents are going for and time your A cards correctly. And the other tiny box game that Allplay is releasing is Fairy. Fairy plays 2 to 10 players in 5 to 10 minutes, and it is a lightweight game as well. In the game, you are using hand gestures to predict the value of the next card that flips out. Essentially, there's a card on the table, and then every player has to make a hand value. I'm going like this, I'm going like this, I'm going like this, you know, and basically what I'm saying is like, I think the next card is going to be higher in value than the one that was there, or I think it's going to be lower value, or I think it's going to be equal in value. And so you're just trying to guess the value and get points for guessing the correct stuff. And if you can guess the fairies in the deck, you know, then that's even extra points. There's fairies in the deck, hence why it is called Fairy. And so both of these, you know, if you watch my series, I do this video on the best games coming to retail, and I also do a series on the best new editions coming to retail as well. I do a video in this series of the best new editions coming to retail. And both of these games, the Panda Panda and Fairy, are re-implementations of games, but as far as I can tell, they're not re-implementations of games that have hit the North American market before. They are re-implementations of games that were in the Asian market, and Allplay has been doing this where they find great games from the Asian market and bring them to North America for the first time. So I just wanted to note that. That's why they're in this video and not in the re-implementations video, because they are sort of available to folks in the United States for the first time, and so I'm including them here. Amigo Games is releasing the game Cloudship. This plays 2 to 4 players in about 20 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. It is a cooperative dexterity game. If you are a fan of dexterity games, this one seems very silly and fun. You are going to roll dice, and that is going to tell you in which area, which like garden that you need to get your raindrops into, and then you're each gonna like pick up a string, and it's gonna suspend a cloud ship, a magical cloud ship, you're each going to hold sort of a string on each corner, and then you have to put it over the area of the garden that you want a marble to drop through the hole of the Cloudship, and you're trying to get the right colored marble into the right colored garden spot. And if you are not doing that, if you are not getting it into the right spot, then, or you're not dropping the right, marble, then it's going to be bad for you, because this is a cooperative game and you're trying to do well. You're trying to do well together, and so, there's a bit of, making the marbles roll around to try to get one to go to the hole. You need the right one to go to the hole. It's kind of like one of those maze things where you're like, you're shifting it around trying to get it through the maze, but, you don't want to drop extra water. You don't want to drop hailstones. You don't want to drop stuff that's going to be bad for you. You want to drop the right stuff. So, it's certainly a memorable contraption, in the game. It's a big physical presence, and so if you like dexterity games, that one seems pretty silly and fun. Definitely a family weight game for sure. They say it plays as young as age 6. So if you're looking for something for younger kids, then check out Cloudship. Ares Games is releasing Barbarian Kingdoms. Barbarian Kingdoms plays 2 to 6 players in 30 to 90 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. In Barbarian Kingdoms, I haven't played this one, but it does certainly give me a bit of like Risk vibes, where you are playing as tribes and you're trying to, overtake the board. You're trying to gain, you want to each control a certain part of the board, and if you can, the first player to control 7 territories on the board is going to win the game. So you are trying to do things like deploy more warriors. You're trying to get money through taxation. You're trying to reposition your units out there. You're doing all these different things to claim territories, to take control of territories in the game. Each of the kingdoms, though, each of the kingdoms that you start with is an asymmetric kingdom. And so that's one of the ways that this differs from a game like Risk, or at least a base game of Risk. And so you're going to each have your own special abilities, and you're each your own cool things that you can do, and you need to take advantage of your asymmetric ability to try to win the game. You got to position your forces out there, keep an eye on your opponents, take advantage of asymmetric powers. That's what I just said. I just said you got to take advantage of asymmetric powers, and then I read it here and I was like, yeah, you're taking some training from me, BGG for sure. That's what I said. So yeah, if you like area control, if you like troops on a map sort of thing, then check out Barbarian Kingdoms. Brotherwise Games is releasing the game Dungeon Kart to retail. This is set in the world of Boss Monster, but you don't have to have played Boss Monster or really know anything about it to enjoy this game. This, the reason I even mentioned it is it's the same characters, some of the same artwork, that sort of stuff as Boss Monster, but this is the Super Mario Kart to Super Mario Brothers, where Boss Monster was the Super Mario's one. Now we've got Mario Kart, where you are racing around a board and trying to beat your opponents and wacky obstacles and things like that happen to prevent you from winning. So yeah, you are, if you like, kart racing, if you like games like Dodo's Riding Dinos or Camel Up or something like that. This is in that vein, but still has strategy to it. Still has choices to make. I don't think I mentioned up until this point. It plays 2 to 8 players in 30 to 60 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game, but maybe on the high end of lighter weight games. So you're going to have spells that you can do, and you can pick up items that are going to help you. Each player has their own unique dashboard, and those dashboards are going to get you special powers and determine how fast you can go and things you can do and how much forward you can go and stuff like that. So, each player, based on the character that you pick, you're going to have a special ability to, it's decently asymmetric in that your dashboard and your character are going to be different than other people's and going to be determining what you can sort of accomplish in the game and what you want to go for and what you want to do, and you just got to be the first to cross the finish line. The other cool thing is it is a modular board, so they have recommended track setups in the game, but you also can make up your own tracks and things like that. So there's sort of endless replayability in that way, and that you can try different tracks and put out different obstacles and do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you want to grab coins, you want to power yourself up, you want to disrupt other racers. You know, if you like Super Mario Kart, then you'll probably like Dungeon Kart as well. Contention Games is releasing the game Slay the Spire, the board game, to retail. You know, oftentimes this video has both games that come straight to retail in it, and also games that have big Kickstarter or other crowdfunding campaigns that also are having a retail release. And so Slay the Spire is one of those games that had a very large crowdfunding campaign. I think they had almost like 30,000 backers, and now it is coming to retail. So if you did not back it, you do have a chance to get it now. Plays 1 to 4 players in 30 to 150 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. It is a cooperative deck building adventure game. It's based on the video game Slay the Spire, so if you like the video game, you will most likely also like the board game. One of the things that sets this apart from the video game is a solo-only game. It is a one-player game. Well, this is a way to play the game cooperatively. If you always wanted to play Slay the Spire with more people, well, now you can. You can also play this solo, but as I mentioned, it plays up to 4 players and stuff. It is a deck building game where you are going to be crafting a unique deck. You will be getting cards, adding them to your deck, normal deck building stuff where you are trying to add cards to your deck to make your deck stronger. You are going to be encountering bizarre creatures out there. You're going to be discovering relics. You are leveling yourself up so that you can beat a big boss in the end. There are a bunch of different encounters in the game. Most of those encounters are combat, but there are also other, like going to the marketplace and going to things like that. So, but it is, you know, decently combat heavy, though it is cooperative, so you're working together to defeat bad guys and then eventually defeat the big boss in the game. So, if you like deck building, if you like Slay the Spire, the video game, if you like cooperative games, all of this sort of stuff is a reason to check it out. You know, just to note, I have not played this one myself, but I have already seen people playing their pledge copies that they've got at different conventions, and I've asked people how they like it, and everybody I've talked to has said they've really enjoyed it. Everybody, you know, from the, I don't know, 6 or 7 different groups I've seen playing this game, I've asked almost all of them, and all of them have been like, man, it's really cool. And it is already in the top 600 on BGG, which is pretty wild that it's already that high. So, yeah, again, if you like a cooperative adventure, sort of level yourself up, beat bad guys, then check out Slay the Spire. Envy Board Games is releasing the game Confusing Lands. This plays 1 to 2 players in about 10 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. It is from Envy Board Games' Tiny Box series, so they are real. Hey, I have it right here. Look at this. You can see how small it is. Look, it's a tiny box. It fits into my hand. So if you want like a small card game, then check out Confusing Lands. It's a fun little puzzle game where you are putting cards down, and each card has, you know, some squares on it, and so when you put down a card, you have to cover up at least 1 square of a card that's already down, and you're only putting 8 cards down, so that's why it's a 10-minute game, because it's going really fast. But each card also has one side that has a scoring objective on it, and one side that just has features on it. And the interesting choice of the game is how many scoring objectives do you want to put down in front of you, because each scoring objective in your land, in your region, comes with negative 10 points. So if you're not scoring at least 10 points off of that scoring objective, don't put it down, because you're losing points rather than gaining them. But if you think you can gain 14 points, well, that's a net positive of 4. Maybe it's worth it. And so I will say about the game, it is, icon heavy. So there is probably, the first couple of times you're going to play it, you'll be looking in the rule book just to sort of figure out the icons and stuff like that. But they do all make sense. So once you've played it a few times, you'll wrap your head around it. And then it's just a quick playing card game with a little puzzle, plays 1 to 2 players. So if you like little puzzly games, if you want a little micro game, then Confusing Lands might be a good one for you. Fireside Games is releasing the cooperative card game Ultimatch. This plays 1 to 5 players in about 20 minutes, and it is a lightweight card game. In the game, there is a pyramid of cards on the table, not like a, actual physical pyramid. They're laid down on the table, flat. It's a two-dimensional pyramid. You get what I'm saying. I've over-explained this. I don't know why. There's a pyramid of cards on the table, and you are playing cards from your hand to match cards that are on the pyramid. And you don't unlock higher levels of the pyramid until you've removed the cards that are on the level below it. And you can only remove cards by either playing cards that match number, that match color. You can even play things that I can play a yellow and a blue, which matches a green. I can sort of build colors that way. You can also create an Ultimatch. If you can match both the number and the color of a card there, you'll get special benefits. You can each also pass cards to the other players that are playing with you, but you can't say I really need this. You just have to go oh boy, I wish I could do something right now, and someone's like, well, hopefully you can do something with this. And so, it's just a cooperative, quick playing card game where about matching colors and numbers and stuff. It's almost like a little bit like Uno in that way of matching colors and numbers, but we're working together and trying to work our way up the pyramid. And you can do special things if you can get special matches, So, yeah, if you like little cooperative card games, then Ultimatch might be for you. Escape Tabletop Games, in association with Flat River Group, is releasing the party game What on Earth Are You Talking About? This game plays 2 to 10 players in 15 to 45 minutes, and it is a lightweight party game. I actually made a video for their campaign once upon a time, and then I also wrote a bunch of cards for this game because I think it's a really fun game, and I hope that it's, Escape Tabletop Games is a smaller publisher that not a lot of people know about yet, but this game is super fun, as well as their first game, Psycho Killer, was great as well, and so I'm hoping people know about this game because it's a very silly, fun time. In the game, you're dividing into 2 teams, and one of your teammates is an alien, and the other players are having to explain a human concept to that alien. Like prom night or something like that could be one of the concepts. But the trick of the game is that you can't just say whatever you want to describe prom night. You draw cards, and the cards have letters on them and blanks on them, and you have to describe that concept by using words that begin with those letters. And so it's super silly, but also really funny, but also kind of brain-burny, where you're looking at this how can I describe prom night by using a word that starts with E, a word that starts with D, a word that starts with S, and you're just trying to come up with it, but then, the things you come up with are really broken phrase sort of stuff, just trying to get this concept across, and it's really funny to hear what people come up with. The base version of the game is a team game. They do have rules on their website to play it not as a team game. For instance, if you have 5 players or something like that, you can play it individually. Instead of dividing into 2 teams, you can each play it as your own individual island and stuff. So there's different modes and ways to play. But if you like clever, silly types of party games, then What on Earth Are You Talking About is a fun one. And, I helped write some cards in it, and so I'm happy about that too. So check it out. Grey Ridge Games, in association with Flat River Group, is releasing Weirdwood Manor. This plays 1 to 5 players in 90 to 120 minutes, and it is a heavier weight game. Maybe some would call it a medium plus game, but it's approaching that heavyweight category. It is another cooperative game, and you are working together to sort of save your friend in this weird manner. And the standout aspect of the game is there are things on the board that spin. You are keeping track of your time. You've got 12 hours to figure this out, or 12 days to figure this out. So there is a track that spins around the rooms in the manor. Then there are cards you can play, but cards need to be played to certain times of the day. So if you play to a specific time of the day, then you rotate this inner circle to that time of day. And so there are multiple rotating pieces on the board, which, definitely very striking from a production table presence aspect. And you are battling companions. You and your companions are battling to protect Weirdwood Manor and its enigmatic ruler, Lady Weirdwood, from invading Fey Monster and his clockwork scarab minions. So yeah, if you like, cooperative games, one of the things I've heard about it is like the rule book is maybe more dense than you expect, but the gameplay is smoother than you expect after the rule book. So that's something to keep in mind. And each character has their own asymmetric deck in this one as well. So you're working together to solve things, to move through rooms, to defeat bad guys, and protect the manor, all with this cool table presence board for sure. Funforge, in association with Flat River Group, is releasing Runemasters. Runemasters plays 1 to 4 players in 45 to 60 minutes, and it is a medium weight game, though on the lighter end of medium weight. This is another cooperative game. We've got a lot of cooperative games this month for sure. Everybody just wants to be hanging out in the summer and working together. We want chill vibes on our board game table because it's summer. Runemasters is a tower defense game, and you are trying to protect the Temple of Mankind against the forces of evil. Each turn, a new monster card spawns on the board, and it will advance towards the temple. And so you are trying to defeat these different monsters before they get to the temple, because if they get to the temple, you failed. You didn't protect mankind. You let everybody down, including your parents. You're just trying to, battle these evil forces, werewolves, warriors, skeleton archers, trolls, all of them. And they all have unique abilities. So there are different things you're constantly adapting your strategy and working together to defeat people based on the abilities they have when they come out. Runemasters have your own special abilities too, so, some are going to be particularly efficient at eliminating enemies. Some are going to focus on healing your teammates and protecting your teammates, things like that. So, can you work together to defeat the forces of evil in Runemasters? Sit Down Games, in association with Flat River Group, is releasing the game Open Season. Open Season plays 2 to 4 players in 20 to 40 minutes, and it is a lighter medium weight game. In Open Season, you play as a monster who has decided to take revenge on the group of adventurers who come to disturb their peace. And so you are drafting these monster cards from a market. You're adding 1 to the board and then moving 1 to this special spot on your board. And whatever is in that special spot on your board, you're going to activate the action associated with one of those cards that's on that spot on the board. So if I have a card on the board that matches the card in my special spot here, boom, I'm activating the action that monster is in. And so it's a different way, it's an interesting way to do action selection to trigger different actions in the game. There are There's a puzzle in how you put the monsters on your board. You know, the top row can't have any of the same monsters. And then this one area needs all of the same ones and stuff like that. So there's a puzzle in how you put them down and how you receive bonus actions and stuff like that. You know, sit-down games is an interesting company to me because they always do something unique. And sometimes that has really worked for me, and I've loved a game that feels different like nothing else out there. And sometimes I'm like, wow, I appreciate this is unique, but it doesn't work for me, sort of thing. You know, it's always unique though, and I respect that. And so, you know, I haven't played Open Season yet. We'll see which way it goes. Is it the good unique or the nope, not this time unique? So yeah, if you like different types of, you know, a unique way to do some action selection and stuff like that, then that might be for you in Open Season. And, you know, you get to play as a monster. You know, you don't just have to be a monster in real life. You can be a monster in the game. Flat River Group, in association with Stone Age Distractions, is releasing the game Hissy Fit. This plays 1 to 4 players in about 20 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. It is a card game. This is another cooperative game, and I love the theme of it. You are basically trying to get a cat into its carrier. That's the whole objective of the game, is to get cats into their carriers. And you are playing different cards that are you're using a treat, you're using a toy, you're doing different things to coax the cat into the carrier, but sometimes when you flip a cat card, they're going to scratch you, because cats are unpredictable. You know, you never know. Sometimes you're like, man, this cat and I are best friends, and then the cat's like, I'm done with you! Ha! And you're like, I had no idea that was coming, you know? Because cats really keep you on your toes, and this game sort of, you know, mirrors that. Right? You're going to be doing stuff to get the cat into the crate, and sometimes that cat's going to scratch you. And if you take too many scratches, you're going to lose the game. And so, you know, you're just trying to play the right cards, do the right things, sort of plan your actions, you know, dress your wounds, build combos to thwart the cat's defenses, and steadily lead it into the carrier before the time runs out. So, you know, you're working together to get a cat and a carrier. Fun theme, you know, lightweight card games. So if you like card games, maybe Hissy Fit is for you. Next up, we have Flat River Group, in association with WordForge Games, is releasing SAS Rogue Regiment. This is a war-themed game. It's a World War II themed game. You are allies behind enemy lines during World War II. Plays 1 to 4 players in 20 to 120 minutes. It is also another cooperative game here. One of the things that is different about this game is it's not a war game where you are, you know, just sort of blowing each other's troops up and things like that. The whole idea of the game is you are sneaking around behind enemy lines and trying to carry out acts of sabotage. So, you know, you are ambushing convoys, you are assassinating high-ranking officials, you are destroying ammo dumps, and more. And you're doing that, you know, in a sort of war game style where you're moving people around the board, you're sneaking up, it's got some line of sight sort of stuff in the game, you're trying to avoid detection, you're trying to use, you know, weapons, you're trying to set traps, all this sort of stuff, but you're doing it all like as you sneak around behind enemy lines. And so it does come with different scenarios in the game, and so there are, you know, different difficulty scenarios where you are basically, each scenario is going to come with a different mission. Maybe this mission is to assassinate a high-ranking official, or this mission is to, you know, destroy a weapon dump or something like that. And so each game you play, you're trying to carry out the mission and escape the area unscathed. Unscathed. I don't know why I said that weird. Unscathed. The easiest way to do this is to avoid detection for as long as possible. So, you know, I feel like it's kind of a unique war-themed game for sure. Next up, we have Hachette, in association with La Boîte de Jeu, is releasing From the Moon. This plays 1 to 4 players in about 90 minutes, and it is a heavier weight game, or maybe a medium plus weight game, somewhere in that range. And you are playing as you're playing as different factions trying to complete missions departing from the moon in order to help humankind survive. And so you are trying to complete 3 different missions, but it is not a cooperative game. Whoever has done it the best, essentially, at the end of completing these 3 missions is going to win the game. You contributed the most to humankind surviving. There is an element of worker placement in the game where you'll be placing workers out to do stuff. There's also an element of engine building to the game. You're going to be building buildings. Those buildings will get you special abilities that will help you do more stuff later in the game. And so you are, one of the cool things production-wise is you got these big rovers, and you're going to be moving the rovers around the board, and you've got all these different types of workers, and you're going to be putting workers in rovers and stuff like that. And so you gotta craft those workers, you gotta earn those workers, you gotta build buildings, build bases, help save humanity. So if you like worker placement, if you like engine building, if you like space-themed stuff, which I do, there's a lot of space-themed games out there, and I still like them. They still do it for me. So From the Moon seems pretty fun. Ultimatch Games is releasing the game We're Sinking. This plays 3 to 6 players in 45 to 90 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. It is a very social game. This is a game that I checked out for their Kickstarter campaign as well, which was a year and a half ago or something at this point. But you are playing, you're taking actions, but you can talk as much as you want with the other pirates about what actions you're taking, because the ship is slowly sinking, and you are trying to keep the ship from sinking. So you're trying to do things like bail water, or there's a Kraken fighting us. We need to fire cannons at the Kraken. We need to defeat the bad guys and stuff like that. But it is essentially a semi-cooperative game where we're all picking a card and simultaneously to take that action, and someone else can be like, yeah, I'll help you bail water, and then you flip over your card and you're actually bailing water and they're stealing treasure. And they were like, oh, sorry, I didn't help you this turn, I'm actually going to get some treasure. And so the other cool aspect of the game, or one of the cool aspects of the game, is the ship literally sinks. It is a cool sort of modular ship in that when it sinks, you take off sections of the ship so it literally looks like it's sinking, which is, I don't know, it's really fun and cool. It looks great on the table, and you are trying to survive, but also trying to survive with the most treasure. So you're stabbing people in the back at some point. I mean, you're all pirates, so that thematically works. But you also do need to defeat the Kraken, and you do need to bail water and stuff. So when are you choosing to actually do things to help the ship, and when are you trying to screw people over and take treasure for yourself? It's full of choices like that, and it's really social because you're like, oh, I can't believe you did that, or we gotta make a pact over here to screw these guys, and stuff like that. So it's always very social. I like social games like this. It's got great table presence with that sinking ship, and it's got the fun pirate theme for sure. Ravensburger is releasing the game Chronicles of Light, Darkness Falls Disney Edition. This plays 2 to 4 players, and it is a lighter to medium weight game. I don't actually see the weight scale on here, but from what I can tell, it's like a lighter to maybe lighter weight game. This is another cooperative game. Like I said, we got a lot of cooperative games this month. You are playing as one of 4 Disney heroines, Moana, Violet from The Incredibles, Maid Marian, and Belle. And you are driving. You're working together to drive back the shadows of infamous Disney villains. You are trying to restore the realm of light. There's a lot of Disney cool like artwork and stuff like that in this one. You're going to encounter familiar creatures, items, and characters along your quests and your journeys. And so, if you're a fan of Disney stuff, there's also, quite frankly, not that many Disney cooperative games, right? A lot of the Disney games are competitive games, so I like a cooperative game, especially for this IP, right? It feels like it should have a more cooperative games here. And this game also comes with multiple different missions, and the modular board can create new missions even beyond that and stuff like that. So there's some replayability where you are just basically trying to play through the mission and work together to win. You're each going to have some sort of asymmetric powers and stuff like that too, based on the characters you're playing as. So, this is one I'm excited to try. I like those Disney characters for sure. So that is Chronicles of Light, Darkness Falls. Rebel Studio is releasing the game Klink. This plays 3 to 5 players in 20 to 30 minutes, and it is a lightweight card game. If you like card games, this one might be for you. You are trying to have the lowest score possible to win the round, and if you win enough rounds, you win the game. The deck of cards consists of cards that are -5 to 10 points, and on your turn, you're going to take 2 cards, look at one of them, and then decide whether you're going to keep both cards or offer them to someone else. You don't even really have to tell what you're offering to someone else. You could just say, yeah, I think you're going to want it. You can try any of that sort of stuff. The player that you offer it to can look at one of the cards and decide to keep it or offer it to another player. And so these 2 cards are bouncing around until someone takes them, or if they reach the last player to be offered them, then that player has to take them. And so, if I've got a 10, yeah, I'm probably offering that to somebody else. I don't want a 10 in my hand. But if you have 2 of the same cards in your hand at the end of the round, they cancel out. So there might be a reason to keep a 10 around, if you think you're going to get another one of those. So, it's a quick playing card game, big cards, big bright colors, that sort of stuff. So if you like card games, check out Klink. Smirk and Dagger is releasing the party game, This Game is Killer. This plays 3 to 10 players in about 10 to 15 minutes, and it is a lightweight game. This Game is Killer is essentially the movie Alien, but they don't have the Alien IP. So this is, essentially you are trying to not be in the same room as the alien. You're trying to be either the last one alive or to kill the alien if you can. And so the unique thing of the game is each player, each round, is going to get 2 cards. And you're playing one of those cards as the location and one of the cards as the special ability. Each card has both location and special ability on it, so you're choosing which to do with which card, and you are basically hoping that we're gonna flip up which location the alien is in. There's some cards, and if you are in the same room as the alien, you're gonna die. Or if you're in the room that another player chooses to destroy. Sometimes other players are like, I'm gonna blow up the med bay. I don't want the med bay here, I'm blowing it up. And if you happen to be in the med bay, you dead. There's a lot of ways to die in this game, and you will die quickly. That is why it is a 10 to 15 minute game. But, it's one of those ones where you just play multiple times in a row. Like, everybody dies, boom, let's reset, let's try it again. And so if you can destroy a room and the alien is in that room, alien's dead, everybody still alive wins, So there are ways for multiple people to win, but also ways for only everybody to die. There's ways for nobody to win in this game for sure if the alien gets everybody. So if you like the movie Aliens, if you like sort of, backstabby party games, things like that, then This Game is Killer might be for you. The Op is releasing the party game Move Like Me. Move Like Me plays 4 to 99 players in about 10 minutes, and it is a lightweight party game. This is like the game Telephone or like the game Telestrations, but instead of drawing or whispering, you are doing a movement with your body. So essentially, there's going to be a line of people, and you'll tap one person, they'll turn around, and you'll do whatever silly move that you're doing. Oh, you had to do a booty shake, and then you're going to stop, and then that person will turn to the person in front of them, tap them, and then try to do the same move that you did, and then that person will tap the next person, and we'll see how close the move is of the last player as it is to the first player. Very silly, you know, some of the things are actually dance moves, you know, like let's see you do the funky chicken, or let's see you do ballet, or let's see you pretend to have a hula hoop around you, you know, that sort of stuff. And so it's just funny. It's big movement, get a bunch of people to play, see how silly the things change. I mean, that's always the stuff about telestrations, right? I love telestrations, but you don't ever really keep score, or at least I don't when I play. It's just about the laughs you get at the end of the game. And Move Like Me is designed to make those same laughs. Like, how did we get from here to here? Like, how did the dance move change that much by the end? You know, that's gonna make everybody laugh for sure. Dancing Telephone. The Op is releasing the party game DaDaDa or DaDaDa. However you want to say it. This plays 2 to 99 players in 15 to 30 minutes, and it is a lightweight party game. And in the game, you are essentially making up a language. And one of the, if you like games like Codenames or something like that, where you're doing associations with different words or objects or art or things like that, then this is, you're going to have phrases, and you're going to have 5 in the game. And those phrases might be poo, or pay, or tea, or ga, or things like that. And you are going to associate different sort of pictogram cards with different phrases. Oh, these 3 things are kind of similar, so I'm going to put them over here with ga. And you know what? These 3 things seem associated together, and so I'm going to put them over here with tea. And we're all going to decide as a team how to associate 13 object cards with the different phrases. And then one player is going to have a secret, you know, object card, and they are going to shuffle in a bunch of extra ones, and then they're going to give the phrase. This is a tiga. And you can never say any other words other than that. You know, tiga. One of these 6 cards right here is tiga. Now you are looking at the other cards associated with ti and ga and going, which one of these are they talking about using that dumb phrase? Which one is a poopy? Which one's a poopy? You know? So yeah, it's a silly association game with making up your own languages and trying to sort of figure out what somebody's talking about based on how different objects are associated with different nonsensical phrases. So seems silly but also clever at the same time, you know? I like a game where I can like make you think and also say poo-pee at the same time. So, you know, that's just who I am. And lastly on my list this month, Weird Giraffe Games is releasing Kingdoms of the Deep. This plays 1 to 6 players in 45 to 60 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. It's an area control game with some simultaneous action selection. So each player will have their own deck of cards, and you have the same cards as everyone else, and you are simultaneously picking what action you are doing that turn. And actions are going to be things like moving around or doing stuff on the board, and you know, deploying forces, adding forces out there. But if you are the only person to play that particular action card that round, then you're going to get a bonus. So you want to try to do things that other people aren't doing, and you're moving around the board and trying to control as much of it as you can. So when one player has played the reset action in a round, the game tracker advances, and the game tracker goes 9 times. The game is over. So, you know, I like games that have a lot of strategy, but also have that player interaction where you are thinking about what other people are doing, what other people are going for, and Kingdoms of the Deep seems like it has that with that simultaneous action selection with cards. So yeah, I'm excited to check that one out. So that's what I got for you here this month. That was 24 games hitting retail here in the month of July. Next month is going to be wild and crazy because GenCon has a ton of releases and stuff like that. As always, if you want to support this series that I do, you're welcome to check out my Patreon, Grant's Game Rex, patreon.com/Grant's Game Rex. Thanks for liking and subscribing. I do want to mention some of the events that I have at GenCon. So if you will be at GenCon, I am doing some different things. Friday at 5 p.m., I'm playing Landmarks, a new Floodgate Games' game. I'm playing Landmarks there at 5 p.m. on Thursday. At 7 p.m. on Thursday, I will be doing a little bit of comedy on the Dice Tower Awards. On Friday at 5 p.m., I'll be hosting the storytelling game. It's kind of a fun story. So it's a really great game that I love that really generates a lot of funny stories. And I performed on the show last year, and this year I'm coming back to host it. So I'm excited for that. Oh, also on Friday at 11 a.m. to noon, I will be in the Gray Matters Games booth. Signing copies of Slip It In. It's a fun party game that I wrote a bunch of cards for, so if you want a copy of that, if you want it signed, or if you just want to come say hello to me, you can come to Gray Matters Games booth at 11 a.m. I will also be doing a Smurfs RPG performance on Saturday at 8 p.m. I'll put this stuff in the description here so you don't have to remember all this. I mean, I can barely remember all this right now, but I'll put it in the description, and you can, if you want to come say hello or you want to come see me do something at GenCon, there will be a number of opportunities for that. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex.